We're keeping a close eye on flooding this morning after days of rain earlier this week. Western Maryland seems to have been hit pretty hard, the hardest in fact, but we're also seeing the impacts along the Potomac as far south as D.C. Now, we sent Jess Arnold out to Georgetown to check it out. She is live there by the Potomac this morning. And Jess, you showed us some pictures just a little while ago, and it looked pretty bad. Is that still the case?
Yeah, well, now that the sun is coming up, we have a much better idea of what we're dealing with here. I want to show you just how quickly this water is moving, which is really punctuated by some of this debris that we're seeing coming down the path here. Also have seen birds take the express lane, as Mario, my photographer behind the camera, was calling it. And as we move a little bit this way, I want to also show you how high up the water has come here on the walkway. As I mentioned earlier, this one part is completely flooded, the lower part, but it's also encroaching here much farther than I could tell before the sun had come up. You can see those flood walls that are also put up here along the waterfront. Now, the National Weather Service did say that the river crested overnight close to 9 feet. So that's pretty close to their high flooding area, but it still is within that moderate flooding range. They do have a coastal flood warning in place for this area until 4 p.m. today. Now, let's take a look at some footage from yesterday so you can get an even better look at what our crews were seeing in the daylight yesterday. The NOAA says that low-lying areas at nearby Fletcher's Boathouse are likely going to flood, which we can see here this morning now. More than a third of Roosevelt Island could be inundated. Rock Creek will experience backwater flooding, and Washington Harbor Boardwalk will likely be covered too. They've also received reports of multiple buildings in the area being flooded. Now, Western Maryland has taken the brunt of the damage, as we've been showing you for the past couple of days. Governor Wes Moore declared a state of emergency yesterday after visiting some of the hardest hit areas. Now, this morning, Senator Chris Van Hollen will be visiting Allegheny County to survey the damage and meet with first responders. Several schools there are still closed today as well. Now, in Frederick County, crews are entering day 3 of their search for a missing kayaker on the Monocacy River. A team found a kayak and a paddle, but not the 34-year-old kayaker who was last seen wearing a green shirt. The National Park Service also said that 5 people had to be rescued from areas near Point of Rocks as the river quickly rose, and as we were just showing you, is now carrying debris throughout D.C. Now, Georgetown businesses here along the waterfront are used to having to deal with this. That's why they had those flood walls prepared, but this water is moving quickly. We'll continue to see if that means with that debris and how quickly it's moving, if it'll continue to encroach up here on the walkway throughout the day. From Georgetown, Jess Arnold, WUSA 9.